She thought she had it all figured out: secret affairs, stolen money, and a fresh start with her lover. But when she landed in paradise, reality hit hard, and the real game began. She planned the perfect betrayal: cheating, stealing, and walking away without looking back. But what she never saw coming was the masterful revenge waiting for her. When the tables turn, will she survive the fallout? Stay connected, grab your popcorn, and witness the most thrilling downfall unfold. The text came in just as Ryan was finishing his lunch at the office. "We need to talk. I'm leaving you. It's over." It was from Emma, his wife of 12 years. At first, he thought it was a joke. Maybe she was upset about something minor. But then another message popped up. "By the way, I've already emptied our joint account. Hope you'll be okay." Ryan's hands tightened around his phone. His heart pounded, but his face remained calm. His coworkers chatted around him, oblivious to the fact that his life had just been ripped apart by a text message. 12 years. Gone. Just like that. He took a deep breath and typed back, "Good luck." If Emma thought this would destroy him, she was wrong. The signs had been there. The late nights, the sudden obsession with fitness, the unexplained shopping sprees, the way she guarded her phone like a lifeline. 3 months ago, he'd found a dinner receipt for two from an expensive restaurant. On a night she had told him she was working late. That same night, Ryan had gone to the bank and opened a private account. A week later, when Emma suggested merging their finances to make things simpler, he had smiled and agreed, while quietly moving his savings somewhere she couldn't touch. The joint account she had just emptied? He had left just enough to keep her from getting suspicious. The rest was his. Another message came through. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm in love with someone else. His name is Daniel. We're leaving for Paris tomorrow." Daniel. Ryan had met him. A friend from yoga, Emma had called him. The man she had sworn was just someone she talked to. Ryan didn't respond. Instead, he called his lawyer, the one he had quietly consulted 2 months ago after finding suspicious credit card charges for a hotel downtown. "It's time," he said simply. "She finally made her move?" the lawyer asked. "Just now. The papers are ready. I'll file them first thing tomorrow. Make sure she gets served in Paris." "Want me to move quickly?" Ryan exhaled slowly. He could already imagine Emma, thinking she had won, believing she had outplayed him. "No rush," he said. "Let her enjoy her little fantasy first." Another text arrived. "I know this must be hard for you, but let's be mature about it. You're not getting any younger, Ryan. You'll find someone else eventually." His little shop, the business she had always dismissed as his hobby, despite the fact that it made more than she ever had. The one whose profits he had wisely kept separate from their marriage. Ryan leaned back in his chair and smiled. Emma thought she had won. By the time she realized the truth, it would be too late. Ryan sat in his office, his phone face down on the desk. He could already imagine Emma, sipping champagne in some overpriced airport lounge, laughing with Daniel about how easy it had been. How stupid she must have thought he was. But Emma had always underestimated him. She thought she had played the perfect game, but Ryan had been planning his own moves long before she sent that text. He picked up his phone and scrolled through the screenshots, texts, credit card statements, emails. Evidence of every dinner she had lied about, every suspicious transaction she had made. Every night she had told him she was with the girls, but had actually been wrapped around another man. It hadn't been hard to collect the proof. People like Emma always left a trail, too arrogant to cover their tracks properly. The hotel reservations under her friend's name, the mysterious charges at high-end stores, the extra gym sessions that had nothing to do with fitness. And, of course, the joint bank account. Ryan had let her think she was outsmarting him, but the moment he had sensed something was off, he had taken control of their finances. Emma thought she had drained everything, but she had only taken what he had let her take. The real money? Safely stored in his private account. His phone buzzed again. Another message from Emma. "Let's handle this like adults, okay? No need to be petty. I'll let you keep the house. We'll talk about splitting your business fairly." Ryan almost laughed. His business? The one he had built from scratch while she spent money on designer handbags and fancy dinners? The one she had mocked every time he stayed up late working? He took a sip of his coffee, feeling a calm satisfaction settle over him. By the time she landed in Paris, she would realize just how little she had left. That evening, Ryan went home to his house and poured himself a drink. Whiskey. Neat. A bottle he had been saving for a special occasion. This felt like one. He sat in his leather chair, staring at the wedding photos still hanging on the living room wall. He wasn't sentimental, but he kept them there for a reason. A reminder of the person she had once been, the woman he had loved. Before the lies. Before Daniel. His phone rang. His lawyer. "We filed the papers. Given her admission of infidelity and financial misconduct, we'll be freezing all remaining shared assets. She won't be able to touch another dime." Ryan smirked. "Perfect. She's not going to like that." "No," Ryan agreed. "But I will." The next morning, Emma's mother called. "Ryan, sweetheart, we need to talk." He put her on speaker while making his coffee. "Let me guess," he said, stirring his cup. "Emma told you I'm being difficult. She said you're trying to take everything from her, that you locked her out of your accounts. Did she also tell you she emptied our joint account before leaving with her lover?" Silence. "She mentioned finances." Ryan sighed. "Barbara, I've got all the receipts. Screenshots. Bank statements. Hotel charges. If you'd like, I can send them to you." Another pause. Then a quieter voice. "She really did this?" "She did. And I let her think she got away with it." Barbara exhaled heavily. "Ryan, I don't know what to say." "Say nothing. Just watch how this plays out." By the time Emma landed in Paris, her phone was flooded with notifications. Declined transactions. Frozen accounts. A text from her lawyer informing her that Ryan had already filed for divorce, with evidence stacked against her. She called him. He didn't answer. She texted, "Ryan, what the hell did you do?" He simply responded, "Good luck, Emma." And then, he blocked her number. Emma sat in the lavish Paris hotel lobby, her perfectly manicured nails tapping anxiously against her phone screen. The reception desk attendant had just handed back her credit card with an apologetic smile. "Declined." She frowned and pulled out another card, this time her personal one. "Declined." Her breath quickened. That wasn't possible. She had money. She should have money. Daniel shifted beside her, his easy confidence beginning to falter. He glanced around the lobby, clearly embarrassed by the hold-up. "Try another one," he muttered, keeping his voice low. Emma forced a smile and pulled out a third card, one she barely used. The receptionist swiped it and then looked up. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this card has also been declined. Do you have an alternate method of payment?" Heat rose to Emma's face. She grabbed her phone and opened her banking app. Her heart dropped. Account frozen. The words glared back at her, final and unyielding. She clicked to check her balance. Zero. Every single dollar in her personal and joint accounts was locked down. Her hands shook as she tapped on another account. Access denied. Her stomach twisted in knots. This couldn't be happening. Daniel sighed beside her, his patience clearly thinning. "What's going on, Emma?" She ignored him and opened her texts. "Emma, we need to talk immediately. Ryan has already filed, and given the financial evidence against you, he's freezing all shared assets. You might be in serious trouble." Her lawyer's message burned into her brain. Emma's fingers trembled as she typed out a message to Ryan. "What the hell did you do?" A moment later, the response came. "Good luck, Emma." And then, blocked. Emma stared at the screen in disbelief. Daniel, now visibly annoyed, shifted beside her. "Emma." She looked up at him, and for the first time, she didn't see the man she had thrown away her marriage for. She saw a mistake. A foolish, childish mistake that had just cost her everything. Their dream trip had suddenly turned into a nightmare. Emma and Daniel were forced to check into a far less glamorous hotel, one Daniel paid for, though not without visible reluctance. The suite they had envisioned? Gone. The first-class experience? Over. Emma sat on the edge of the bed, trying to make sense of how quickly her life had crumbled. She called her lawyer. The conversation was brief. "Emma, this is serious. Ryan had been preparing for months. He has bank records, screenshots of your conversations, and evidence of financial misconduct. He's taking everything he legally can." Emma's mouth went dry. "That's not possible. I emptied the joint account." "You mean the small joint account he left for you to find?" The lawyer's voice was grim. "Emma, Ryan was ahead of you the whole time. He let you think you were winning." Her stomach churned. Daniel, sprawled across the cheap hotel bed, scrolled through his phone, completely disinterested in her breakdown. She hung up and buried her face in her hands. Everything had fallen apart. Her money, her reputation, her future. She had thought she was the mastermind, but Ryan had outplayed her at every turn. And now, she had nothing. Emma sat in the dimly lit hotel room, her head pounding as she scrolled through her phone, searching for a way out of this disaster. But there was nothing. No access to her accounts, no response from her lawyer, and no sympathy from Daniel, who had grown increasingly distant since the moment her cards got declined. She glanced over at him. He was lying on the bed, scrolling through social media like none of this was his problem. And really, it wasn't. He wasn't the one who had just lost everything. "Daniel," she said, her voice tight, "I need you to cover my expenses for now, just until I figure things out." He didn't even look up. "Emma, I told you, I don't have that kind of money." She swallowed hard. "But I left my husband for you. We were supposed to start a new life together." Daniel finally looked at her, but instead of warmth or concern, there was something else in his expression: regret. "Look, Emma," he sighed, sitting up. "I didn't sign up for all this. I thought you had things handled." Her stomach twisted. "I do." "No, you don't." He ran a hand through his hair. "I'm not in a position to take care of you. I thought we were going to have fun, not whatever this is." Emma felt her breath catch. The man she had risked everything for was already backing away. "You said you loved me," she whispered. Daniel hesitated for a second too long. "I mean, I care about you. But," he trailed off, the unfinished sentence hanging heavy between them. Emma clenched her jaw. She had chosen him, defended him, lied for him, and now, when she needed him most, he was treating her like a burden. Her phone vibrated. A new text from an unknown number. "You threw away everything for a fling, and now even he doesn't want you. Was it worth it?" Emma's stomach dropped. "Ryan." Her hands shook as she typed back. "Go to hell." But when she hit send, an error popped up. Message failed. He had blocked her. Again. Emma woke up to the dull ache of exhaustion. The cheap hotel mattress beneath her felt nothing like the plush bed she had once shared with Ryan. For a split second, she forgot where she was. Then reality slammed into her. Her credit cards were frozen. Her bank account was empty. She was alone in Paris, abandoned by the man she had risked everything for. She turned over, expecting to see Daniel still sleeping beside her. Instead, she found him fully dressed, zipping up his suitcase. A cold sense of dread crept up her spine. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice dry. Daniel didn't even pause. "I booked a flight home." Emma sat up too fast, her head spinning. "Without me?" Daniel sighed, rubbing his temple. "Emma, I don't know what you expect me to do. You don't have any money. Your accounts are frozen. What am I supposed to do? Pay for everything indefinitely?" A sharp pain stabbed at her chest. "We're supposed to be together," she whispered. Daniel exhaled sharply. "Look, Emma, I didn't sign up for this mess. I thought you had things handled. I thought we were going to have fun, not be stuck in some nightmare where I have to take care of you." Emma's heart pounded in her ears. This wasn't happening. "Daniel, please." She hated the desperation in her voice, but she couldn't stop herself. "Just stay a little longer. Help me figure things out." Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her. His patience was gone. "Emma, I think we should take some time apart." A sharp, bitter laugh escaped her lips. "You mean you're done? Just say it." Daniel didn't argue, because it was the truth. Emma clenched her fists. First Ryan, now Daniel. She had left her husband, convinced she was stepping into a better life. A fresh start. Now, she was staring at the wreckage of the choices she had made. She watched in silence as Daniel walked to the door. He turned back one last time. "I hope things work out for you." And then, he was gone, just like Ryan had planned. For what felt like hours, Emma sat on the edge of the stiff hotel bed, staring at the spot where Daniel had been. She was trapped in a foreign country, completely alone. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked her phone, searching for someone, anyone, to help her. Her first instinct was her mother. But then she hesitated. She already knew what the conversation would be. "Emma, how could you do this to Ryan? We raised you better than this." Her friends? She scoffed at the thought. The only ones who had encouraged her affair had been the type who loved drama, but never stuck around when things got ugly. She had no job, no savings, no plan. For the first time in her life, she was completely powerless. She opened her text and stared at the last message she had sent to Ryan. "What the hell did you do?" His response had been cold. Final. "Good luck, Emma." And then, blocked. Her stomach churned. Ryan had set her up. She had thought she was the one in control, but Ryan had been 10 steps ahead the entire time. A fall from grace. 2 days later, Emma sat alone in a dingy cafe, drinking the cheapest coffee on the menu. She had sold the few designer items she had brought with her, just to afford food and a bed in a hostel. She had gone from living in luxury to counting every penny. It was humiliating. And the worst part? The whispers had already started. Her phone buzzed with a new message from an old friend back home. Heard about what happened? Guess you should have stuck with Ryan, huh? Her fingers tightened around the phone. Ryan wasn't just winning. He was watching her downfall in real time. And she had played right into his hands. Emma stared at the screen of her nearly dead phone, scrolling through the messages that had trickled in over the past 2 days. Some were from old friends, offering fake sympathy wrapped in amusement. Karma's AB *TCH, huh? Others were from people she hadn't spoken to in years, acting as if they had always cared. If you need a place to crash, let me know. But none of them offered real help. And the one person she wanted to reach, the man she had betrayed, had cut her off completely. Her funds were gone. Her fresh start had crumbled. And she was stuck in a city that no longer felt magical. She had nothing left. And Ryan had made sure of that. By the end of the week, Emma had no choice but to book the cheapest flight home. A one-way ticket in economy, a far cry from the first-class escape she had envisioned. She arrived at the airport exhausted, her expensive suitcase feeling heavier than ever. The whispers followed her. Back home, her fall from grace had become gossip. Ryan had made sure of it. Her lawyer had already warned her. Ryan wasn't letting her off easy. She wasn't just facing financial ruin. She was facing legal consequences. Ryan had proof of her infidelity, proof of her financial misconduct. And now, he was fighting for everything. The house, gone. The car, gone. Any claim to his business, dead on arrival. Ryan had orchestrated her destruction so perfectly that it almost seemed effortless. Emma had no choice but to move in with her parents, the very people who had warned her about destroying her marriage. Her mother barely spoke to her. Her father avoided looking at her altogether. She had gone from being a wife with stability to a woman with nothing to her name. And the worst part? Ryan had moved on. The rumors spread quickly. He had been seen with someone new. A woman who wasn't just younger, but smarter. A woman who appreciated him instead of mocking him. And Emma? She was just a cautionary tale now. A lesson in what happens when you betray the wrong man. Final message. Weeks later, Emma sat alone, scrolling through Ryan's social media. He looked better than ever. Confident, successful, untouched by the mess she had caused. And then, as if fate wanted to twist the knife deeper, a message from an unknown number popped up on her screen. Was it worth it? Her breath caught. Ryan. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She wanted to respond, to apologize, to beg for a second chance. But before she could type a single word, blocked. The final nail in the coffin. Ryan had erased her, and she had no one to blame but herself. The end.